Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you having the hearing. I think this hearing will illustrate the differences between our side and yours about a problem we have in common. Nobody wants unaccompanied children to be abused, to be put in labor environments that are unhealthy. Bottom line is the policies of this administration, Mr. Chairman, are not working. In FY 2022, there were 33,239 unaccompanied minor encounters at our border. In FY 22, 2 years later, it's 152,057. There's been a 357% increase regarding unaccompanied minors at our border. Have you ever asked what happened? You should. We all want children to be well taken care of, but have you ever asked the question, what is it in the last 2 years that's driven the numbers up 357%? It's policy. The Biden administration has a policy that if you're an unaccompanied child not from Canada or Mexico, you will not be sent back to the country of origin. In FY 2022, the average age of an unaccompanied minor was around 14, 64% were boys. The countries of origin, 47% from Honduras, 29% from El Salvador, and others 11%. Guatemala 47%, Honduras 29%, El Salvador 13%. These three countries make up the bulk of unaccompanied minor encounters at the border. Now, why is that? If you're an unaccompanied minor from that country, you're not sent back, and people know it. You're located in the United States at taxpayer expense. You're enticing more, not less. Here's a solution. Have a consistent policy. Send children back to their home country, even if they're not from Mexico or Canada. This will stop overnight. The journey to get here is hell on earth. Only God knows what happens to young girls in particular. So the reason we wanted this hearing is to highlight the problem and ask the Biden administration to consider changing policy. They have changed policy regarding post-Title 42. We're down to 3,500 a day, and we're celebrating that. But that's better than 10,000 a day. So, Mr. Chairman, the answer to why there's been a 357% increase in unaccompanied minors is policy. I'd love to work with you, but there's nothing we can do until you change your policy. The three countries I just named have figured out that if you can get an unaccompanied minor here in the United States, they never leave. Bottom line is, the Flores decision is also incentivized the use of children. If you come as a family unit, we can't detain a child, then the family most likely is released in the United States. We've created a demand for human smugglers to get children involved in the smuggling process, because if you can get a child, whether it's a family member or not, you claim it to be a family, then the chance of you being deported has gone way down. So we have incentivized the use of children in illegal immigration, and nothing will change until we change our policy. This idea of a family unit, it's obvious to me that more and more people in the human trafficking business, smuggling, have figured out that if you can get a minor child, not an unaccompanied adult male, in the mix, the chance of the unit staying in the United States goes exponentially up. So as we talk about the abuse, we all agree is bad. We'd like it to stop. In terms of hiring children illegally, count me in stopping that. But the reason we wanted this hearing is to try to persuade our friends on the other side that the policy choices of the Biden administration are creating an unending flow of children to this country. the idea of having a child in a family unit, whether they're family or not, the incentives for the smugglers to use children is through the roof. And we're now seeing children be recycled that came here, released in the United States, sent back to the country of origin, and the smugglers use them yet again. You're never going to break this cycle until you change policy. And there'll never be an immigration deal that codifies this strategy. So a good faith step in fixing our immigration problems is to change policy regarding unaccompanied minors. It's in the minor child's interest, and it's in our national security interest, and it's in our interest as a nation. This needs to change and stop, and a 357% increase in the last 2 years is going to continue in perpetuity until we change policy.
Senator Graham, as you often say, count me in. I hope you understand I'm